You want to crack net with JRF? Here is a 20-day winning strategy. We need to know the latest question pattern because we are going to focus on the most important areas. From some areas in the syllabus, you get roughly 1 to 5 number of questions. Which are these areas? In 2019 NET, there were 3 questions from research. But in 2020 NET, there were 5 questions from this area. However, in 2021, only 2 questions from research. However, research is a very important area. Then let us go to journals. The number of questions based on journals have been steadily increasing. In 2019, just 1 question. In 2020, 2 questions. And in 2021, there were 4 questions based on journals. Mostly chronology questions or names of people associated with journals, etc. Now, literary terms is very important. 2019 had a record number of 6 questions on literary terms. In 2020 and 21, only 3 questions. From social history of Britain, from the history of publication, prosody and ELT, only very few number of questions, 1 or 2 questions, but do not leave these areas. These are all areas to which you should devote some time. But there are even more important areas where you should devote most of your time until the exam. There are a few areas from which you get 10 to 15 questions in every net. Wow! Obviously, these are the areas you should really focus on. Now, guys, this is the most important area. The area from which you get maximum number of questions. You might already know majority of questions in the exam are textual. You get textual questions based on themes of books, the greatest classics, the pioneering works. Also questions based on structure, characters and quotes. In 2019, as many as 27 questions came from texts. In 2020, just a little less, 24. And in 2021, only 16 questions came from texts. But that is a lot. You have to look at the great writers and their major and minor works. Look up the summaries quickly, and these authors and works you should know before the exam. Another area from where you get questions is just books and authors. Major books and authors in literary criticism and theory, cultural studies, English in India, linguistics and contemporary literature. That means post-colonial literatures, 21st century literature, books winning awards. In 2019, there were more than 5 questions. In 2020, there were 9 questions or 10. And in 2021, as many as 15 questions were based on books and authors. Remember to look that up. You know that chronology is becoming increasingly difficult. Chronology of authors, chronology of movements, characters, publication of books and terms. Make a note of that. All these are important. Surprisingly, in 2019, only 1 chronology question was there. In 2020 and 21, wow, 9 chronology questions were there. Comprehension is a sure shot area. You should have regular practice reading academic passages and poetry because 9 to 10 comprehension questions you will easily get in the exam. That is the trend in 2019, 20 and 21. Linguistics also has become very, very important. Linguistic theories, questions based on theorists and their books, questions based on terms and concepts in linguistics, and also the history of the discipline. All these are important. You will surely get 10 questions from linguistics because that is the trend. Criticism, theory, and cultural studies again. From criticism, you have to look up movements, critics, terms and concepts, and also history of criticism. 2019 topped with over 12 questions. In 2020, a little less, only 7 questions. And in 2021, there were 8 questions. Theory and cultural studies. Again, you have to look up movements, theories and their works, terms and concepts, and history. Very many questions come from theory and criticism and cultural studies. Theory and culture studies in 2019, wow, 12 questions. In 2020, 17 questions. And in 2021, 19 questions. If you read theory and criticism and cultural studies, you are going to get a lion's share of the questions in the upcoming exam. Do not ignore that. Let me tell you about the focus areas once again. A. Textual details of works by major authors. Very important. B. Literary criticism, theory and culture studies. C. Linguistics. D. English in India. E. Literary terms. F. Research methods. And of course, G. Paper 1. You have to focus on these areas for 2022 exam. In focus area 1, textual details of works by major authors. What should you do? You should study the short authors and their works. Very, very important. And in focus area B, literary criticism, theory and culture studies, what's your task? You have to look up the major theorists, their works and their concepts. In focus area C, linguistics, what is your task? You have to make a list of the linguists, major linguists, their works and concepts and study it. In focus area D, English in India, you have to look up all the commissions. You have to look at the books published in the 19th century and early 20th century. You have to look up Indian English books, grammars, dictionaries, etc. You have to look up theory books of English in India and the authors. Arey, don't panic because in our daily study plan, I have already given you all these lists. You just have to watch those videos and study accordingly. It's easy for you. Now guys, literary terms is important, but also look up theoretical terms and linguistic terms. You should follow major books of literary terms. Those by M.H. Abrams, Cudden and Chris Baldick are very famous. You can also use the internet. And the focus area F, research methods in English. What should you do? I will tell you in this last minute, just browse. Look up what is quantitative research, what is qualitative research, and Google itself will suggest you more terms, more areas. One by one, look them up. Every day, spend some time for it. Now, the most important thing is to plan your day. I would suggest that you should spend some time on all the important topics every single day. You have a lot of household chores, your personal chores, you might be working or studying. After all that, look at the time that you get to study. Maybe 5 hours, 6 hours. If you can put in 9 or 10 hours, it is amazing. That is the best. Guys, you don't have to get 10 hours or 5 hours at one stretch. You can take 15 minutes now, 20 minutes later, half an hour now, 1 hour later, like that. And all in a day you can cover. Look at this, guys. The blue 20% is literature. Of your study time, 20% should be devoted to literature. There's another 20%, the orange, terms and concepts. Equally important. When I say terms and concepts, I mean literary concepts, theoretical concepts, critical concepts, and linguistic concepts. Guys, you should spend 15% each for criticism, theory, and culture studies every day. And also for paper 1. Don't ignore that. And at least 10% each of your study time for linguistics, English in India, and research methods. You can pause the video, take this down, and plan your day accordingly. I'm telling you, you will be able to do a lot of work. You will amaze yourself. And yes, guys, if you're working like this, we are gonna do it this time. Tess and you are in this together. We together will win. You will pass NET with JRF this time for sure. Start studying according to TES 20-day winning strategy. Wish you all the very best. We are there with you.